Basically listening to the soundtrack to Your Love with Paid Training, and Art School Girlfriend is one of them. That's in the actual movie Your Love with Paid Training. And it's I have sent out the treatment twice today, or no, a few times on Facebook, on my Facebook, Cole Spivey's Facebook. The film treatment is there if you want to read it. It's in like 4 different versions. But Jay works basically for ADT, and he's basically like door-to-door sales, basically. And he signs up people for alarm system, but he also works for like a film company too. He's writing a script. And what ends up happening is he goes by like one of these houses. It's a nicer house, but he figures it's either they're going to move in or they're about to move in, and the doors are like slightly ajar. So he goes, hello, anybody there? And he goes in because they're supposed to be basically installing an ADT equipment. And he goes and checks to make sure the panel's there and stuff. And then he sees someone on the couch, and right then she jumps up scared, and that's Lisa Leanne Lee. That's her full name, Lisa Leanne Lee. She's based on probably like a bunch of people that I know. So anyway, she's actually has a problem with alcohol. So she went into the home and just basically fell asleep on the couch. The couch is still covered. It's covered with like the plastic material. You know, and when you're moving a couch, it's only a couch that's in the entire home. It's like one of those luxury homes, like really big, kind of like a mansion. He's like, well, are you the homeowner? And she's like, no. Who are you? And he's like, my name's Jay. Basically in sales, something like that. I'm installing equipment for ADT. I'm just a sales guy, probably what he says. He doesn't tell her he's a manager or anything like that, but he didn't know who he figures that she's the homeowner. And that's how they meet. Okay, so Jay, who is door-to-door sales manager, let's just call him that. He basically is flabbergasted to see this lady laying on a couch that's not the homeowner. So he's like, do you work with the maintenance people? I mean, are you working with the carpenters and stuff? Because they're moving stuff in. They're like, no. And they've had the house ready for a couple months. Just had no move-in. There's no answer for that. She doesn't know what's going on. She's been sleeping on the couch and drinking in town. She's like a traveling drunk. She probably got like dropped off there for some reason. Some nice neighborhood. She just wandered away into some house that had a sold sign out front. You can do that. Some of these houses can take 3 months before the owner comes in. And man, sometimes they can sit empty for probably 6 months. Usually they don't. Usually they're in within 3 days after it's sold. But they have all different reasons things can go wrong. Why people don't show up. Some of them, they'll be sitting empty for a month or 2. Sometimes permanently, which is something in the system. Well, not permanently, but sometimes like for too long. But anyway, she's been, sleeping on this couch in the middle of nowhere in this beautiful house, probably in the country. And he was just going to set up equipment, or at least verify that the equipment needs to be set up. He was like part helping out the installer, probably. Anyway, whatever the reason is, he finds her, and they basically hook up Last Tango in Paris style. Next scene, they're at a roller rink, skating around in a roller rink. Some music is playing, and she goes over and meets these weirdos out in the middle of this like country area, and does a jello shot, like a yellow jello shot, and just passes out. And he thinks, she's good for it, done for good, and follows her. Now, he's a vlogger, okay? Jay's a vlogger. He's wanting to be big on YouTube. But he also writes screenplays. He's got a loose connection with Hollywood. And he gets these jobs for the paid training, basically. But they make him basically like a manager, like pretty quick. In certain sales jobs, because he has a lot of sales experience. And so he follows her to the ER, and they have this little conversation where she's like, I'm going to pull you down. He's like, I'll just pull you back up. And she has to struggle with alcohol. It's kind of like a modern day version of The Tramp with Charlie Chaplin. If you've ever seen that. I need to rewatch it though. But it's got like a crazy soundtrack. And one of them is Art School Girlfriend by the Stone Temple Pilots. And that's one of the many. And it's also got one song I would argue for, and I'd say, listen, we gotta have this song, or I'd be really mad, is by the band Outfield. They did a song called Your Love. And I think that would be in it, because she has this 80s thing. I think it's set modern day, but they're kind of like living in the 80s, and sometimes they might be in the 70s, you know? There's some 70s songs in there. It's that kind of feel on it. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, they don't have the encryption codes for this yet. So it does all kinds of weird stuff. This is more like they just don't have the technology for it, so they can't really send radio frequencies to stop it. But they do that. They'll do it to your car. They'll send a radio frequency. It's a high radio frequency signal injection hacking. So they'll try to hack your car and mess up your equipment. They can't get to this one because it runs strictly the GPS, and they can't interfere with the GPS, or they'll go in and get them if they try to do that. But they will mess up your Apple CarPlay, or they'll try to, because that's a competitive thing, because Apple has all the money till Google takes it. So Jay's kind of kooky. He likes to eat crackers while he works, these little saltines. He has to double up on his glasses, but you never know if they're really smart glasses or they record everything that he looks at. Because his bifocals broke. He's older. He's like 51. Lisa Leanne Lee is 40. She's 40 years old. She's a problem with alcohol. She pulled like a Robert Downey Jr. thing, where she just went into a house and laid down. People do this stuff. That's how he found her. And then he falls in love with her. Your Love with Paid Training is what it's called. And he goes through all this crazy stuff to try to help her. His ultimate goal is make a lot of money and put her in a rehab. There's a Valentine's Day sequence too. I might use some Andre 3000. I like Andre 3000 stuff. I've got all these ideas of some different music. Not a lot of rap, but there's a Valentine's song and Love Below, the album. I haven't put that down yet, but I've got some ideas. I do like Art School Girlfriend with Stone Temple Pilots. It's a really good one. Your Love, Outfield, yeah. And then I said, I came across a Tears for Fears song today. I know Marty Supreme uses one. It's Head Over Heels, but it's done by Japanese Breakfast. Have you ever seen Japanese Breakfast? They're a band. Yeah, they do Head Over Heels, but I do like the Tears for Fears version of Head Over Heels a little bit better. But we could get the Japanese Breakfast one. I'm with Drive Film Productions of Texas. But I don't go by Jay, I go by Cole Spivey. It's cheese. It's like pepper jack, I think. Look at that. It's also got Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Alright, so these are the right pumps for 7-Eleven. That means you get the 10 cents discount. It's going to be $2.69 rather than $2.79. It's a brand new 7-Eleven. I've vlogged it before. Back when we were doing, I think we were doing food delivery out here for a little while on Linda's account. give you an example of a really good bathroom. Look at the floor. You have cleaning fluid on the floor. It's really good. You're gonna get a thumbs up. Very clean, very good. It's new. 7-Eleven. This is actually can't be sold. You can see it says 2000. It says 16. So they're not able to sell this right now. Basically, I notified them about the expiration, and they're like, "It's for you, sir." Oh, napkins. Pretty smart having napkins right here too. It's for you, sir. So there. I've had them chase me to my car over a freaking hot dog and start banging on my car. It's a religious thing. All right, so I did put in my code, 279, and I'm getting it for 269. This one's pretty much good. All right, barely here. Part of the journey. Now, journey you got to watch out for because they'll copyright hit you. Usually, you're like sampling, kind of like a rapper. You just sample like a little bit, and they don't usually copyright you. Sometimes they don't at all if it's just barely sampled, or if you're talking over it. You know, like at a 7-Eleven or something, they won't usually do it. That's 400 calories. It's a little bit less than the 7-Eleven one, and it's chicken rather than tuna because I already had tuna earlier today. They say there's no such thing as a free lunch, but it's not necessarily lunch. There could be such thing as a free dinner. You just pull it down this way, and it opens. They're sealed to be airtight, pretty much. Because sometimes they accidentally do sell them when they're over that date, but legally they can't. And I think sometimes they taste a little bit better one day late. So they have to get them off the shelf. They'll keep a few of them mixed in there every once in a while, because I'll check on them like, hey, this is a day late. They'll scan it out, inventory, and hand it right to you. If they don't, get them on a YouTube vlog and post it. I will, because on a YouTube vlog, you get 1 million hits. Watch how they act at that point. They throw the sandwich away right in front of you. I had them do it to me plenty of times. They can't throw it away right in front of you. But I do it though. They'll say something like, oh, my manager has to log this out later, so we have to throw it away right now. No, they have to scan it, and then they have to toss it. I only have a napkin up there rigging that. But I had an idea. I could probably use this napkin. I want to do something. That Defender, which is an OtterBox Defender, it was a very, very important thing that I needed in my life. And that salesman knew it. It was done by a playwright. Because the Pelican is too thin. The Defender, the Ottoman Defender, is thicker. That Chevrolet came in just at the right time. It's right there, THG 8884, the license plate on it. It's right next to me. It is an art, what we do. Now we go for stabilization. underappreciated, all because of the name. YouTube is underappreciated, but it's getting a comeback. They have people in Hollywood that can predict platforms. In 2029, it will take over most all the studios. Movie stars will be starting their own channels. They'll have assets. This is chicken. They'll try to protect their assets like Scott Weiland did. He'd go on talk shows and tell people that he had to make $67,000 a month or he'd lose his assets. They got so many assets they have to pay for them. They can't help anyone, not even themselves. And one of the big three in the studios is going to be Google. Google is pretty much Hollywood now. I mean, it's not yet. I'm not going to say that it is yet, but it's on its way. And it's, you know, that's just the way it is. Touchstone, 20th Century Fox, MGM, Miramax is gone. It's called something else. I know Miramax, the only thing you can get Miramax is the Miramax channel on Samsung. That's about it. It's almost pretty much gone. They might be able to save it, but Disney is probably going to have some problems, and Google will take that too. Google, when it comes to entertainment, they'll take it all because of two words that are meshed together: YouTube. It'll be a competition between Google and Apple. Apple does have the devices though, so they'll hang in there. They'll probably be okay. They're right neck and neck. Google and Apple are neck and neck, literally. But 2029, we'll find out. I promise you, Google will be bigger than you ever believed in Hollywood. All right, next stop, Fort Worth, Texas. That's a good chicken sandwich at zero charge. I just had to pay for the gas and get out. So in 2020, Google invested, I think, $246 million. It could be $248 million. I'll have to look it up. But a lot of money. They invested a 6.6 stake right there into ADT so that they could install their Google Nest cameras, their thermostats, and other smart home technology to help ADT customers. So Google and ADT have merged together in one way or another because of money and because Google wants to be a part of that because they have good cameras. So smart home technology is being revolutionized right now by Google, and Google is being seen as a security feature. Now just think of this though. Let's say you are a YouTube vlogger and something goes down that's not right. It can air on Google in a matter of seconds if you have the right cellular devices. It can do the same on Facebook as well. You can immediately alert. You know how I say the United States Postal Service is it is the most powerful entity in the world. It still is, because one letter can be mailed out and change the entire world. One letter can be mailed, and it's still very, very secure. They use technology to make sure that it gets to the homeowner or the person the address that it's sent to. And mail is very important. It still is today. And you can still write something. You could write your president. You could write a loved one. You could write anybody you want to and send it through the mail. And that's great. But when it comes to security and you need viable information to be sent out, that something happens, you can send it out to Google or to Facebook almost immediately, and the whole world would see it. It could get 4.7 million views in a matter of seconds, or a matter of minutes, or really quick. That's when we get into Vlogger versus Vlogger. It's a movie that I'm wanting to write, a screenplay, and that's way in the distance. I really want to wait till I'm technologically sound and more advanced to write it. But it's about a travel vlogger that's stalked by a hitman that knows a technology like you wouldn't even believe. I wanted to get De Niro involved in it, or at least as a producer maybe, but I think of De Niro as playing Joe, a vlogger. I know he's older though, he's a pretty old dude, but I wanted to see if he wanted to play along with it. And I wanted to get Jordan the Lion involved as a consultant, or possibly maybe an actor, because I've thought of him when I was writing the travel vlogger. But it deals with him trying to get footage up to a platform exactly like YouTube, and trying to get it up there as quick as he can. But this hitman vlogger is chasing him, messing around technologically with the upload. So he has to find safety. So he runs across the travel vlogger that's running. It's a cat and mouse game. Travel vlogger that's running from the hitman is basically he finds a waitress. It's basically like a cocktail waitress to help him. She is actually extinguished by the hitman because she's allergic to strawberries, and the hitman finds out about it just through technology, just through finding out stuff about her through facial recognition and stuff. So he feeds her. Well, he makes her make a decision on this bridge. He tells her, you can take a bite of the strawberry, I'll throw you over the bridge, or I can do both. So she decides to take the bite of the strawberry, and he throws her over the bridge. That's one scene in it. But it's set around a hotel, very similar to Dragoncon. I used to watch Adam the Woo's Dragoncon all the time, and I got the idea from that, watching Dragoncon. And they do that, I think, in Georgia at some hotel. It's a beautiful hotel with a great atrium and all these floors. And I thought of the movie High Anxiety. And I also thought of movies like The Professional, Leon the Professional, with Gary Oldman. I thought of that one too. Different films like that is surrounded by espionage and things. It would be a great idea. It's called Vlogger versus Vlogger. It's loosely based also on the cartoon Spy versus Spy. We're going to see Carvana. It's right there. So you can order your car online, your automobile. You can order it online, and they'll just basically drive it to your home. They have these little, they're like almost like tow trucks. So that basically is Officer Hernandez from the Fort Worth Police Department saying that you can't have your phone in your hand. It's the first time I've heard it. So you cannot have your phone in your hand while you're driving. So I guess so. We're gonna have to look up some stuff on this. Officer Hernandez of Fort Worth. But I don't know if he took off with my insurance paper, because I gave him my insurance papers and I need that, like a copy of that, but I'll have to get another copy. I think he gave it back to me because I said, hey, you gave me the insurance papers back. And he goes, yeah, I learned my lesson on that one. So I'm going to stop up here at this QT and get situated, because that took another 10 minutes from me. So he's educating the public about you cannot have your phone or smartphone in your hand while you're driving. So I said, well, what happens if you get a phone call and the Bluetooth doesn't kick in and you have to put the phone to your ear? He said, oh, you can have it in your hand if you have a phone call. So I'm confused. If you can have the phone in your hand on a phone call, but you can't have it like recording Carvana. And I think they know this kind of stuff. So you definitely can't text. I know you can't text. And I know for sure, but it was basically just an educational stop is what he said. This is just an educational stop. So we're going to have to get a mount. So a mount is, he told me to get a mount. So a mount is basically something you get at Blockbuster. It's like it mounts in the car. He's just basically stopping people and educating. So it's like that kind of thing. Phone calls, it can be like this, right? So you're getting more things. But what they have probably maybe have done some studies is that He's saying that it can be up to your ear like this, okay? That's what he told me. He's educating me on what can and cannot be done. It can't be basically right here, like a visor is in front of you or whatever. But it is translucent, and you can have a mount. So with the mount, and this is what they all know, the mount I am going to search for. I told Officer Hernandez, I said I will search for a mount. I'll look at Blockbuster. I'll look maybe on Facebook Market. This one, St. Paul Lutheran School and Church. It says, I am with you always, Matthew 28:30. But luckily, or no, Matthew 28:20. 30, it doesn't get to 30. I think it might. I'll have to look at Matthew. At the end of Matthew, it says that we're here to do two things. Okay? The first thing is we're here to baptize, and we're here to heal. It says it in Matthew, at the end of Matthew. I think Matthew 20, at the very end, 20-something, 28 or something. I'll have to look it up. But it's the very last thing that is said. That one is earlier in Matthew 20:28. That's a different one. I'm here with you always. Okay. That one says it too. But anyway, you can have it like this. So if it's mounted, it'd look like that on a mount. And it would probably be with the monitor. So it would be basically where the monitor is. But I told him about my Apple CarPlay. And he said, yeah, my daughter drives a similar device, well, not device, but uses a similar device when he drives a similar vehicle, and it does stick. So I try to tell him that it does stick. But when I go to YouTube and I hit radio and media, which is part of the vlog, it does unstick. So it will unstick. But if it was mounted, I could turn it probably like that, and it'd look different. The show would look a little bit different at times. It can also be like this, because it can be lower than the monitor, or it can be even with the monitor, about like that. Now, one thing it can do is it can be like this, for sure, because that's with the dash. You're only looking at the dash. So here, they probably might, maybe could, they don't want it here, like that. So that's what he said. There's certain things that you can do. You can have it to your ear, but you can't have it like, you can't be doing an office meeting, which I've seen that done plenty of times. And you can't text. I know you can't text. You're not supposed to text, and that's a whole different thing. I've seen that on YouTube where they're like, okay, you're being pulled over, you can't text anywhere, anytime, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was only school zones. No. So he's educating. No, not in just school zones. So we're going to have to get a mount. Now, he did say what you want to do is you want to get a mount, and you want to fasten the mount and then put it up on there. I'm looking for one. I just don't know if I can find one that's going to fit on this monitor. And those air conditioner ones, they fall off, and it's like more distracting than ever. So we'll have to figure something out. And plus, I've got like so much freaking exterior footage that I'm good to go for a while, you know, on that. All right, Shake Shack on our way. This Shake Shack is basically about 400 feet. And the pickup time is going to be 8:39 for pickup. So I keep this thing as a reminder for what this church did for me. I keep it right up here. So I take the insurance out. It's there. It's right by Gandhi Park in Irving. It's an international Christmas celebration. December 7th, 2018. And my kids' care was provided. I don't know about New York City, but they're gonna have to start getting these vlogging laws sorted out. A long time ago, you could be at the mall. You could be filming like a sign that says like Shake Shack. A security guard would come up to you and cite you with their little mall ticket. And you're like, okay. And we would, my cousin Rob and I would, we were like teenagers. We were like right in high school. We'd have the video camera going at like some electronics store or something outside of it, looking upward. And then they would cite us and say, no, you know, you can't do that. You can't film the outside of Zenith, you know, or whatever it was, Radio Shack or whatever it was. And we're like, oh, okay, we can't? Okay. Now? I don't know. They have Google cameras that go along the highway, but they're on top of the car. But they have to be adjusted. So, right, I don't know. I'll have to think of something. Oh, that windshield's so dang dirty. It's like a horrible gate to clean. Options are sweet treats. You can have chocolate, K-Shack, spicy caramel, or the tiramisu shake. Or if you're really risque, you can go with the Korean style hamburger, chicken, or fries and just add a little shake on that. But don't do it every day or it'll kill you. So the Carvana thing wasn't like completely necessary, but I know, I understand. Look at this thing right here. That happened to me today. They make them so long, they do that shit. Is it threaded? Yeah, I think it is threaded. It can survive a slam like that. The threaded cables can pretty much. I don't know, man. I kind of agree. But I think it's dangerous to carry a gun. Personally, I didn't tell him that, though. If I would have told him that, I'd big time ticket. But it is dangerous, though. But texting's way worse. But you know, you can like hit the buttons to talk in now. So if you're texting, I do that sometimes, or you can hit reply on the screen and talk in it. So they have it set up where they can't do anything. Where, you know, if it's plugged in, someone texts you, then you can like hit reply and text it back by speaking. I've done it a few times. So we're gonna have to be practicing that stuff. It's very important that the Apple CarPlay works. It's also very important that all those functions work too. Because I had Siri talking to me saying, Linda sent a message. But you know how she says it. And I said, okay, reply, you know. And what would you like to reply, Cole? That kind of stuff, I try to practice that stuff when I can. But I sit there telling him this stuff sticks, man. So, I don't know, he's okay with it. For right now, because he knows. He knows the type of car it is. You know, after all. You know what that stands for, don't you? It stands for something. That stands for something. Right there. So figure it out. Of the officer is kind of frightening because when he came up beside me, he did slow down to my exact speed. And he slowed down and slowed down and slowed down. That can be an issue. So they need to change some of their behavior. All right. Shake Shack on the way, 858, 6, 1 point. Okay, what they can do, and this right here, under here, isn't gonna fit like a mount. And I wish I could show you. I can only show you with the iPhone 11. But with the iPhone 17, it's a little too thin with that Pelican. Now, I am going to say something. I'm not against Latinos, but the Hispanic guy that sold me this Pelican is either real smart or he's real stupid. But the Defender, which is the Autobox Defender, will fit right here perfectly. It'll mount right into the steering wheel just like that. The Pelican doesn't, unless you have a napkin that goes in it. Now, also it has a little tiny, you can see it right here. It's a little notch. Probably can't see it, but I've shown it before, and that notch is hard to mount. It's an iPhone 17 Pro, so it has extra zoom on it. Way too dark and way too dangerous to get any type of cruiser number. But his badge did say Hernandez, so it did say Hernandez. He looked pretty shaken up about it. But there's no, because that's, you know, you're walking along the highway, and it's absolutely essential that you don't want to wait until you get to like a gas station, like some people do. You don't want to just go ahead, just go pull over right over by the highway. There's usually room. They're not stupid. They check the maps and stuff before they do the pullover. It took him a little bit of time, but he pulled up beside me like right here, and then he decided to do his, you know, to do a little warning, a little educating the public. But you can have it. You can talk in it. You can do that. You just have to have it as, it's all about the angle. And it's also about if it's mounted. And I'm pretty sure if it's mounted, then you're good to go. On if it's on or off, because it's mounted. You can have mount stuff in the vehicle. The thing you have to watch out for is the angling on the vehicle. So, but I show you what you can do. You can do this. It'll be angled upward towards where the light is. Kind of a Scorsese taxi driver shot. This thing is so light, it'll make more noise. This makes far more noise than the OtterBox, which is this is a Pelican. It's noisy, it's clicky, and it flips around. It'll also break the Pelican tempered glass on the front. So it comes with a Pelican tempered glass. This thing is made to launch out of your hands. If you look at the notch right here, it's hard to mount with that without disturbing it. But you just have to find the right mount. And it's very lightweight. So that's an issue. And we'll have to see if we can go to Walmart or Best Buy or something. All right. Okay, 7-Eleven, 9:05 for the... But I know educating the public is important. This is Snapple. I know the dude's pissed, but it's not my fault, or it's not my job to, like, hold his hand. Like, you know why I'm stopping you? Do you know why? Because I want my stapler. My red stapler. And my taxi driver poster. Got that in there. Can you have a pocket holder while you're driving? What did we say about the pocket holder while you're driving? You take the glasses out while you're driving and you put them on just like that. They're smart glasses. And you would never know. Not in a million years, can you tell? You can right now, but in the future, could you tell? Right, on our way, 9:25, 14 minutes, 5.5 for the drop-off. Delivery. There it is, right there. See it? Now watch what happens when I hit radio. That's the radio frequency. The only way to get it done is not with the camera. You have to go to YouTube. So you basically, you don't have to go to YouTube. You can go to any function or any application, is really what I meant to say. And to keep that from doing that, watch. See the time? It says 9:12 right up there. That's stuck too. So give me a second. I'll time travel out. There it is. So it says 9:13. We just time traveled. Now look. So you hit radio and you hit media. Radio and media. But you can only do it if you access, well, you don't always have to access an application. Like, for example, the camera is an application. So let me see. So here's an example with the camera. So you hit radio and you hit media. So you have to do it with YouTube. So let me get the, good to go. So I choose YouTube. And then what I do is I hit radio and media. And it works. So that's the reason why, I guess. I don't know. He's stopping me is not because of the camera. It has nothing to do with the camera at all. And Biddison is a clue, and so is Butler. If you go down this way, you'll hit Butler. You turn to the left over this way. You go all the way down Willing. Once you hit Willing to the right. And you'll find the answer there. The reason for the stop. It's right there. Look at this part of Willing right here. You can barely see it. You can see it there, though. Right there. See where it says Willing Avenue right here? In that area. So we'll do a map. See why. It's all the way around here. In this area right here. He doesn't have the encryption codes for this right here. None of them did. So you go all the way down around that way. Somewhere in that area, you'll find the answer there. So you go all the way somewhere in there. I was gonna have him play, if we get it approved, I was gonna have him play the polar bear guy. I'm trying to think of the name. Joseph Blackburn, I think is his name. No, it's not Blackburn. It's Joseph Blackbird, I believe. Map is reported right here. Target. Just like this, right? That it's obstructing the view. A long time ago, on old-fashioned days, it was that right there. That would be an issue. But what do you do when you get out of a car wash? They give that to you. So I've seen one where they're chasing people and they had it, the little this thing, they had it like right here on their little handle where they move the little handle thing. So it doesn't obstruct the view. So, you know what I mean? Shot that he was talking about of Carvana was 18 seconds. It was an 18-second shot on the highway. The only way to get that, the officer, it's a fake fight. The only way to get it is GPS. You get the information on the driver, most likely. That's the only possible way. Ain't no way in hell, man. 18 seconds. Now, I would say maybe 18 minutes, maybe. Or 18 day. No, like you can't. The longest vlog was 30 days before there was interruption in the service. Exactly 30 days. And then there was a slight interruption and it went on for another 30 days. That was done by a film crew. They broke a record, a Guinness World Record, for 30 days straight. It's the longest one so far. It's on the Guinness World Record. They might break it again. It's gonna be this one right here. All right, these are all odd numbers right here. That's even. So it's gonna be 2 climbs. Now, ideally, I would go up there. It probably would be up there. So I don't forget a handrail at all. Yep. Almost went to the other one. About what's mightier than the sword? The sword's representation of the gun. See if you can see this. This changes laws. This changes that man's job. So on a warning, there's a paper trail. Okay. On educating the public, that's like a mall cop. They educate the public all day. It's a paper trail. There's also a paper trail on a ticket. There's a paper trail on a ticket. There's also a paper trail on an arrest. The one that happened in Keller of the school zone ticket, I don't have a paper trail. Paper trails are created article. The one that arrested Linda, way over there off of Marsh, there's a paper trail. It's under an archive. Officer, state trooper Bell was his name. This guy was Officer Hernandez. He was highway, Fort Worth police, probably on the highway. I don't know if he was highway patrol. I don't know for sure the division. That gate's locked over there. Some people have to do what they do, understand. There's I write about them in RIB, which is the Revolutionary Independent Branch, parentheses or dogged on out, close parentheses, dash Shepherds of Alaska. It's that way so it can be found on YouTube, and it can be found anywhere with that title. It's almost like enigmatic. You could find that anywhere. It's easy to trace. Long titles that are complex, or weird titles that are misspelled sometimes. Not always misspelled, but in RIB, there's the state troopers, right? There's also state trooper highway patrol, but the state troopers that I deal with in Alaska, they're state troopers. And they're dealing with a reservation issue, which they're not even supposed to be on that stop in chapter 91 or 90. I think it was chapter 90 in the novel. So they weren't really supposed to be there themselves, but they saw them from a distance. And they saw his camp, and they knew it wasn't Native American, probably through binoculars. So when they went, and he had binoculars too, but I could rewrite from the point of view of the state troopers. I think it's Jonah. Samuel Camden III is a state trooper. Then the other state trooper that's on the Facebook post, his name is Al Greenwood. And they're both basically stopping Shepard, Dwight East. When they run his ID, they run him as Archie Rector. So Archie Rector does have a kind of a paper trail in a way that's created by the Lone Star Hacker, who I wanted Cooper to play, but it's only a cameo, and he'd have to lose a lot of weight for it. It could be Jeremy Davies. I think I only put Cooper down because I made certain things kind of clear. Like, for example, I put Sean Penn down for the FBI. I think I called him Penn, because I've used him in another script where I called him Penn. I think P-E-N. I don't know if Sean Penn spells it with P-E-N or P-E-N-N. But I requested that. That was way long time ago, in like the turn of the century, probably 26 years ago, whenever I was doing Oscillate Wildly, and I was going to get Brando involved. I was going to try to get Penn involved too on it, and I was going to use him as, I think, an FBI agent or a detective. I think it was a detective. Later on, 26 years later, or actually more like 24 years later, I'd write RIB. And then I put him down casting as, I want to say it's the FBI agent Penn. But anyway, there is the two state troopers. But they're not after, like, Shepard Dwight's East phone. They're trying to figure out why this guy's on reservation land. So they know he's a cop. And the thing is, they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it between themselves, because they could be recorded and that would be it for them. They just know he's Archie Rector because it comes up in the system. I think that's the one right over there. No, it's not. Maybe a high school teacher. So it comes up in the system as Archie Rector, and that's what they have to go by. And they do. When they run it, they have to go by what comes up in the system. So the scene is, they kind of approach him. They go through a valley. I kind of got Cormac McCarthy with it in a way, and they come up and they ask for the ID. Just kind of like on left-hand field kind of thing. They're just saying, this is reservation land and you can't be here. It belongs to the Denny. I think they say D-E-N-I. I don't know how they pronounce it. But Jonah, Samuel Camden III, which is who I wanted to play, the state trooper, Alaskan state trooper, he pronounces it Denny or something like that. And you can't be on this land. They couldn't either. But you want to move camp about a mile down this way. Probably there's a few others that were in the same instance. They're along a tree line. Basically, it was a string of pines, I call it. That basically leads to a huge mountain. And that mountain I call the Great Mountain. It can be any mountain. So what ends up happening is he goes, hang on. The dog, he puts the dog up, I think right after that. He keeps his dog out, which is Buster. He calls him Rover, because Buster has a nickname too. Because they would find him, and he'd be Shepard Dwight East, who's probably on the run from a Fort Worth cop on the run, because, he was framed for murder. He was, like, waiting to be tried because of Daniel Lush's Cop X. Daniel is an ex-cop posing as a cop that had done some murders of migrants, because they don't have socials. They're not traceable. So he tells him, let me see your ID. And Jonah's just waiting in the back. I was thinking about Mark Wahlberg because he's kind of a leader in Hollywood. He kind of is, and he would be good with his commanding presence for the role of Al Greenwood, State Trooper Al Greenwood, because they do kind of their own little investigation. There's a chase that's involved. So he goes and gets the ID, and he comes back, and it says Archie Rector. He even checks like the ID, makes sure the photo kind of looks like him, because he has been, majorly undercover with a beard and everything. They look at it, they run through the system. It reads as Archie Rector. He said basically that's who he says he is by showing him the ID. Then they release him. Then he knows, which is Shepard, Dwight East. He knows that there's a Lone Star hacker. So as the writer, who I am, Cole Spivey, the writer on this particular piece, I'm stating that there is a Lone Star hacker. You don't know. Nobody knows if they have a hacker watching over them. I do know that I have problems with my system. I'm talking about my Apple CarPlay. I'm talking about this thing. And I did show him. I didn't show him that it was sticking because it wasn't sticking when I was there. But usually when I'm around an officer, it will stick. And sometimes even on the highway. I even have it, to be honest. I don't want to check that footage then when I'm going by Carvana, because I did not have the Apple CarPlay going. I only had the Kia going, the Kia map system. But anyway, that was kind of weird. And so anyway, in this instance, which is not similar at all, they release him and they say, well, just go. And when you get off of the reservation property, you want to apply for basically a permit to camp and alongside wherever you end up camping, outside about a mile down that way. He points the opposite direction of the valley, which I think is north and south. It's set up north and south, but I purposely did not put north, south, east, and west. But I did say that he didn't know his north, south, east, and west because the two cops were not supposed to be on the reservation land when they were making the stop for Shepard in the first place. So all the laws are kind of broken in that little segment. They're not supposed to be on the land. Shepard Dwight East isn't supposed to be on the land. And he tells his own cop buddy to move down the line in that sequence. That's the purpose of that. Like, both of them were wrong. But he had a fake ID, so he got out of it. Because if he would have entered, the only way at that point, it says in the chapter, the only way they would know that it was Shepard Dwight East is if he said it with his own mouth. And that's what I said. The only way they would know that. They wouldn't know it from the ID. They have to have some type of ID to know. The migrants that are killed by Daniel Lucius Copex, who was once a lieutenant, or he posed as a lieutenant, and I don't give his rank of his NYPD connection. He, I think, does have a fake name. And I do give his real name later on. I think it's Copex, which is Copocks. It came from a real name I looked up. But Cop X basically is like ex-cop backwards. That's how crazy he is. Yeah. So anyway, this was kind of weird because I'm thinking, hey, I wasn't using Apple CarPlay, which is distracting. I wasn't using that. And I was, was it like right here? Not necessarily. But I know what they're getting at. But anyway, I'm trying to kind of relate my own personal life with when I'm stopped by police and what went on with this particular character that I'm writing about, Shepard Dwight East, which I'm going to try to get another chapter out. But I think the next chapter is going to be with Jed Wilson. He's going to be part of RID, with the Revolutionary Independent Branch, which I would think would be really good maybe for like Brad Pitt or something like that, like a Brad Pitt type. Who I even considered maybe even like the dude that was in, what was that called? I'm trying to think of the name of it. He was in I Am Legend. Will Smith, yeah. Like a leader of his own type, It could easily be like Will Smith or Pitt. I'm not really caring what it looks like. It's kind of like the attitude of a leader. And I would say probably Pitt because of Fight Club. But anyway, he's the instructor, the sniper that takes him off the street, takes like Poopy and Droopy off the street, teaches them how to snipe, and starts the Revolutionary Independent Branch. And that would be Jed Wilson. And that would be the next chapter, be focusing on the drone activity of them operating drones in Alaska with this circus bear and this chick named Lady Shroom. That's going to be the next chapter I'll probably start working on. And that also, it did kind of make me upset. He was upset too. So, you know, you got to do what you have to do, if you know what I mean. 18 seconds. That ain't long enough, dude. I'm not buying it. It was an 18-second shot of Carvana. There's no way he pulled up on me in 18 seconds and then like turned his head. It'd have been like this. Look at the camera. This is 18 seconds. That's how long the shot was. It wasn't edited. It was only on the highway, and it was 18 seconds. We're already at what? 10 seconds? 12 seconds? 13 seconds? 14 seconds? 17 seconds? 18 seconds. He's probably mafioso. That cop is. It's Hernandez. I'd check on him. Doing is I'm looking on Facebook for a mount. So we'll get a mount. It's no big deal. Listen, aesthetics. I got so much stuff from Dallas from the iPhone 8. I mean, I'm sorry, the Samsung 8. And I got so much stuff from the iPhone 11 that would last me for a lifetime. I didn't tell him that, though. But I'll probably get a mount. I don't know if you can get one that's like this, like a mount like that. But you might can. They might turn. So we'll have to find a universal lazy boy holder. It's like 6 or 7 feet long, and it goes all like it would be all around the car. you put it like right here. That's what I'm thinking. But some of them, 50% of the states, you can't even have that. You have to have it like literally like right down there where they can't see it. You can't have it like that. Like you can't have a mount like that. Look at that. They're Oklahoma. Well, I'm the under the radar van. He has it like that. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie. The iPhone 11 with the it's called it's an OtterBox. It would fit perfect right there. You can't even see it. This is a Pelican. So the Pelican, it doesn't do it. It goes right through it. On the Pelican, they made it just small enough to do that. But there might be something right here that we can work with, like this, like around here. But, you know, like right here wouldn't be obstructing the view because it's right here where the dash is. Like that. And you would see this, 0.5 it. So you could 0.5 it and do all this kind of stuff. Like that. Just like that. You could do like Adam the Woo does, like that. And then right here, and like that. And then right here. And go like this again. And then back down here. And like that. And over here. Like this. And like that. And like over here. And go over this way. Over here. That. And go over this way. And then go that way. Like that. Just heard a big old clank coming out of there somewhere. That's the new construction. It's going to be basically an apartment complex right next to West Elm. West Elm is coming soon. So they're calling it West Elm. That's what it says right there. West Elm. Why, I don't know. Agree with Seinfeld about the presidential position as in President of the United States of America. I agree. You'd be crazy. And I think that's part of the qualifications, is what I'd say. Because I'm absolutely crazy, man. They would believe. Yeah, man. What is it? I'm not going to hurt you, American people. I'm just going to bash your brains in. I show the officer was at Sticks. Say it's not. This is touchscreen. There's no. It just basically is how it is. But the phone, it can't stick because it's either the encryption, I don't really know what's going on, or it's just a malfunction, or it's radio signal injection hacking. I don't really know what it would be. But you can see it's trying, there it goes. It's trying to work. But it does stick quite often, and There, it's moving now. See, now it's moving. And the camera's on, you know. And it's not going back to radio. So ideally, if I had the iPhone 11, I could go to YouTube real quick and hit radio, and then it would go to radio while this is still up, and then it would go back to media. It has to be in a different app, and it doesn't work with the camera usually. So it doesn't go to radio and back to media, where it can reset. It's not going to stick right now, though. And whenever I was showing it to him, it wasn't sticking either. You know? So, don't know. But I'm trying to figure it out. I already got in touch with someone with a mount. I don't mind having a mount. I think they're cool. I found a 360 mount. It would go like right here. But I don't know if they're going to like it if it's like this, you know? Or if it's up here, they're not going to like that. But if it's like here, and it's a 360 mount, it might be even with that. Yeah, iPhone 11's going with me tomorrow for sure. Camera on iPhone is currently using a microphone, right? So it's going with me tomorrow. iPhone 11, this is iPhone 17 right here. It's iPhone 17. That's staying with me, but the iPhone 11's going to monitor what's happening. I can't explain every single thing. I'm a pretty good writer. I might write about some of it, but I cannot explain all the issues that I'm having. See, look, there goes back to sticking. I just showed you, you know, I just showed you 2 seconds ago. So it is sticking. And the camera does not release it. An app like YouTube will release it. Maybe SoundCloud. I don't even think SoundCloud will. But what it'll do is I pull up the app, I hit radio, and it releases it. It'll look like this. Quick. Yeah, it's still unavailable. So I don't know what they call that. But there is a way to do it, and it's very hard to do. See it? I guess that's too much time. Yeah. Still unavailable, right? Almost. Sometimes I can get it to work, sometimes I can't. But what it's supposed to do is when you hit mode, it's supposed to go to radio. It'll go automatically to radio. It's programmed to do that. And it's saying Apple CarPlay, recentering, and it's going wonky. So when you hit mode, it's like, what in the world? And it is Apple CarPlay unavailable. You see it, watch. I hit mode right now. Apple CarPlay feature currently unavailable. So then go to radio and nothing. And then back to media. And eventually it's on its way to sticking, like when it does that. Go here. Still, it's not, yeah, it's still malfunctioning. But it does work sometimes, so. Anyway. Alright. And see what it does is you have to report it like that. Just about like that. About like that. But you have to see if it's still going to be right. It's still centered. Okay. Name that sold me the Pelican with the Pelican screen thing that I didn't want. But he was Hispanic. He was a Latino salesman at that, and his boss was too. I'm not going to talk to him about it until I get the OtterBox. I can show him what the OtterBox does. And I want to know why they didn't carry any OtterBoxes, or the AutoBox, or obviously OtterBox, basically the Defender. I want to know why they didn't carry the Defender, OtterBox. I wanted to figure out why they didn't carry it there, because they carried it out past Carrollton and Dallas, where I got the iPhone 11, which is basically untouchable, other than me. It's basically, I'll show you, because I have the iPhone 17. I'll show you the iPhone 11, exactly what I'm talking about. And I still have that OtterBox Defender, and I want to know why they didn't have one, why they only had the Pelican. That's a Pelican right there. That's all I want to know. And then I want to show them the OtterBox and show them the phone without the screen protector. And I'm going to say, just like in Lady Hawk, when the, I think it's called, it's in Lady Hawk. It's basically, he's called a bishop. It's an evil bishop, has to see the Black Knight, the Dark Knight that was played by Howard, and Michelle Pfeiffer played basically the Lady Hawk. And the princess, but she's like a princess character. Together, right? He had to see, the bishop had to see them together. I want this salesman to see my phone without the Pelican screen protector and the Pelican case. I'm going to bring those things with Scotch tape whenever I peel it off. I'll bring it over there. I'm going to lay it down. And I'm going to put the otter box down. I'm going to say, look at this. And he's going to be like this going, no, I can't look at it. No, I can't look at your phone that way. No. That's what he's going to do. He's going to go like, no, I can't look at it. No. Oh, God, no. I got to find the actor's name that played the evil bitch. Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Broderick, who's trained by Uta Hagen. I read her book, Challenge for the Actor. Michelle Pfeiffer and Rutger Hauer. It's a Richard Donner film. He also did Superman. Got it. Gaston is the thief in Lady Hawk. Richard Donner directed it. Gaston is played by Matthew Broderick. Rutger Hauer is basically Navarre. He's the knight, also known as the Black Knight. He wears a black armor. Michelle Pfeiffer plays Isabel. She's basically like a princess. She's cursed to turn into a hawk during the day. So she flies during the day. The prince, basically, it would say, he's part of the man of arms of the royalty. He's known as Navarre, and at nighttime he turns into a wolf. He's cursed to be a wolf, so he cannot meet with Isabel. The bishop cannot see it. And that was played by a Shakespearean actor known as who? Bishop, who passed away in 2011, is played by John Wood. He's a Shakespearean actor, and he cannot see them together. He can't see it. Oh, God, no. And there's a scene in there where that happens. Matthew Broderick and the man that plays like the Marlon Brando type of character, he's the Protestant, man, basically is what he represents. The bishop represents the Catholic. He wants to see it. He wants to see them together. He enjoys to see them together. And so does the thief, Gaston, who's played by Matthew Broderick. They enjoy seeing one another. Meaning they want to see love. They want to see it happen. The bishop only wants order and wants them to be apart. I got to go pick up some Velvet Taco on our way. 1041.2. Yeah, I see Richard Donner's Lady Hawk. Be blown away. Navarre is Rutger Hauer, and then Matthew Broderick is Gaston the Thief. Michelle Pfeiffer plays Isabel. John Wood, who's passed away, he basically plays the bishop, the evil bishop. We know how things work. We know that there is an order. But I want to find out the actor that played the Protestant monk. Leo McKern is the actor's name. He passed away in 2002. He played Empress. He's kind of the Protestant monk. He's the one that hangs out with the thief, and they both enjoy to see the wolf with the hawk. Basically, they enjoy to see the union between the two. Between Rutger Hauer and Michelle Pfeiffer, which is basically what it is. It's a union between Isabel and Navarre because they were cursed to be apart because the bishop was pious and didn't want them to have love. This was done by Jimmy Joe Jenkins, 3/17/2017. I promise you it was. He has other murals too that are around town. They usually hang around here. A lot of them are fallen angels that are just looking for trouble. We're about to see John Cusack on the wall holding a taco right here and Say Anything. He's also on the bench right there. Yeah, no problem. Velvet cake here. They don't always show it though. Velvet Taco on the way, 11:07. We'll be there in 15 minutes. Is that the bishop was in love with Isabel and did not want to see Isabel with Navarre. So how he stopped it was he cursed them and cast this spell on them and said, okay, the daytime Isabel would be a hawk and have to fly the air. And nighttime, Navarre would become a wolf and have to scour the night. And together they would never meet. But there's a time of an eclipse where the sun is not completely out and the moon is not completely set, you could say. But together they meet, the sun and the moon, and an eclipse happens. Or it could have been the opposite. It could have been solar, it could have been lunar. Regardless, together they would meet at just a slight moment while the eclipse happens. Now there's also a moment too in Lady Hawk where the sun is starting to set and the moon is starting to rise, and it's a brief moment that they can slightly see one another as humans. So the hawk would not see him as a wolf, and the wolf would not see her as the hawk, but together they would see each other as flesh, as human beings. Only a slight moment. But then when the eclipse happens, the equinox, I believe, I think it's an equinox, but it's definitely an eclipse. I believe when the moon passes before the sun, that time period, they'd be able to see one another. And the bishop would have to gaze eyes upon them together. That's why he covers his eyes so he doesn't see. And if he does see them together holding one another, the curse would be released, which it is. And the ones that want to see it are Gaston, the thief, which is Matthew Broderick, and, of course, Empress, who's played by an older actor that's passed away in 2002. He kind of reminded me of Marlon Brando a little bit. He was kind of a chubby man that was... Marlon Brando would have been perfect for that role, but it was a chubby man that was very jolly. Now I'll look him up later. His name was Leo McKern, original Leo McKern. He was in The Blue Lagoon. He played Patty in The Blue Lagoon. But anyway, he was the Protestant monk kind of guy, and he wanted to see Navarre, and he wanted to see Gaston the thief. I'm sorry. He wanted to see Navarre and Isabel. He wanted to see all of the people, but he wanted to see Navarre and Isabel. He wanted to see them together. Ultimately, he wanted to see the curse to be broken because he wanted them to be happy. The only one that did not want them to be happy was the bishop, the one that wanted complete order under his authority. He wanted to control them all. He was the writer, you could say. He wanted to control them, and at that moment during the equinox, when the moon passes before the sun, he wasn't able to. Now we're going to get all Star Wars, and I'll tell you why we do that here. There is some safety issues right in here, because a lot of people will go up this ramp. This is correct. There's another ramp over here. That's an exit ramp. They'll sometimes try to get up that exit ramp. It's safe on this one though, right here. It's protected from the radar, as they say, to a certain degree. Navarre does win because the curse is dropped and he no longer has to be a wolf at night. And Isabel no longer has to be a hawk during the day. And its curse eventually is dropped. It is lifted, and they can be together in marriage and union. Not necessarily under the church, though, but under the eyes of God, which is more powerful than the church. And we know that. The message here on this side is different than on the other side. say equinox in Lady Hawk, and that is incorrect. But it is interesting to say that. It's actually just an eclipse. But it would have worked in equinox, you know, if they changed that. But it's an eclipse. But I think they mention equinox. I want to say they do say eclipse. Equinox is when everything is equal with the equator, sun and night, basically. The sun is at a level of the equator on the equinox. It does happen. But it actually happens with an eclipse, so... It's basically, I did explain a lunar eclipse, and there's also a solar eclipse. You know the difference, right? So the lunar eclipse is when the moon actually passes before the sun. I could be wrong about that. The solar eclipse is when the sun is eclipsed by the shadow of the earth, or vice versa. Forgive me. One of the two is definitely what goes on in Lady Hawk. Whether it's a solar eclipse or it's a lunar eclipse. I believe the lunar goes before the sun. And I do believe the solar eclipse goes in the shadow of the earth. Regardless, it could be vice versa in the movie. And it could be vice versa in meaning. And I'm going to go look that up. So give me a second. A lunar eclipse is when the earth passes between the sun and moon, casting a shadow upon the moon's surface. That's what makes it what it is. It has to do with the moon passing between the earth and the sun, obscuring. Does you know the difference? So there is solar and lunar. One has to do with the shadow, and one has to do with the moon actually going before the sun, which is solar, because the solar is eclipsed by the moon, as they say in Pink Floyd song. Does that make sense? So when the moon goes right before the sun, that's what makes it solar eclipse. It blocks it out. The lunar has to do with the shadow being casted upon the moon. There's a shadow that can cast upon the moon. So in Lady Hawk, it would make sense for it to be a solar eclipse. And I looked that up. I had to find out the definition between the two. Will I remember it? Most likely, probably no. But it's funny because I get them two mixed up. A lot of people do. Solar goes before. The moon goes, that's solar. Lunar is a shadow that's cast upon the moon. The lunar has to do with the shadow, and the solar has to do with the moon itself. That's Lady Hawk. Solar is when the moon passes, which is a solar eclipse, when the moon passes between the earth and the sun, obscuring the sun. So you're like, I can't see the sun. That's the one that we experienced not long ago. Linda and I saw it at a church. We were at the Watermark Church. That's solar. That's in Lady Hawk. Pretty sure. I don't think they would use the shadow one. And that would be what's known as the lunar. The lunar one I don't think they use. They use the solar one in the movie. At least Donner did. John Wood. All right, so the solar eclipse is when the sun is obscured by the moon. The solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the earth and the sun, obscuring the sun. On a lunar eclipse, the shadow will be casted upon the surface of the moon, creating a similar effect. But it has to do with the angling of the moon. And when it passes in the shadow of the earth. There's a difference between the two. Fallen angel. Hey, look. looks like we got a Jack in a Box. This will be the last one for tonight. 11:20, 6 minutes, 2 miles. I do highly recommend Lady Hawk. We'll get the year on it later. I can throw out some guests if you want to guess with me. So Richard Donner did it. He also did Superman almost around the same time, roughly, okay? Life goes really quick, but you got to see Lady Hawk at least once. Matthew Broderick was trained similar than I was. A man named Ken Stilson, he worked with Uta Hagen, and he came here, which is Texas Wesleyan, to basically teach her teachings, meaning he learned from her book, Respect for Acting and Challenge for the Actor. We focus on Challenge for Actor because Uta Hagen focused on it. She was real big about the fourth wall. She was also really big about the 6 steps, you know, knowing the 6 steps of acting. What is, like, who are you? You're basically your historical circumstances, you could say, like, where did you come from? What made you who you are? Your background, your history was important. Then there was always a motivation. There was always something that the person wanted. There was always something that the actor, well, I would say the character wanted something. There was always an obstacle, and you always had to get over the obstacle and how you were going to do it. You had to know those things before you stepped on stage. This is where we would do a lot of our performances. It's a firehouse. It's now the Bernice Coulter Templeton Art Studio, dedicated to her, you know, and it used to be our theater. It was a firehouse. And Richard Massey would always say, don't scream theater in a firehouse. Because you don't scream fire in a theater. And then we also performed at the church right over that way too. Did a lot of different plays. Some kind of Shakespeare kind of stuff, and then a lot of Tennessee Williams and, you know, Lanford Wilson. He's kind of like the other guy, King David, that you see over there by Tom Thumb, off of, he has the radio always. And yeah, he has the radio, but he used to have the Bible. He'd hold the Bible and sometimes the radio. It's for his form of ministry. King David is over there off of Hewlin sometimes. Well, he actually appears all over the place. He takes the bus. He will prophesize all over town. He'll just appear with a radio, or he'll appear with a Bible. He's a great guy. I've talked to him, and you know what weird thing is when you talk to him, he just sounds like a normal person, and then he goes off and starts prophetizing. They just do it. Isn't that interesting? It's another stray dog along the roadway. If they ask me to place the order with the customer,
you and pay with your card?
Right? No, that's not what they're asking. They're asking for the order to be completed. They're saying place the order with the customer. Place the order for the customer. So I'm trying to place the order with you.
Carlos.
Okay. Español poquito. So I'm trying to place the order. I can show you the screen. It wants me to place the order for the customer.
Are you going to pay?
No, it doesn't ask us to do that, but it does ask me to place the order.
Well, you'll have to pay before we'll get.
Do you know where the screen says it was already picked up? Because I just got it a while ago.
Yeah, you're like the third person that come through right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The third person, like, recently?
It was maybe 10 minutes ago.
And your name is Carlos?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so 10 minutes ago, 3 people have come by?
No, you're the third person to come by.
In 10 minutes?
No, in 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes?
Maybe 40.
And so when was the order released?
Like 30 minutes ago.
So 30 minutes ago, they've been coming by for what name?
For Angie. It was the first
Angie L?
30 minutes ago.
All right, McDonald's on the way, 11:32, 2.4. This will be the last one. They do a lot of them at night. That's how I got assaulted off Harry Hines. It's exactly that way. I was communicating with them through the drive-thru. I just didn't do it the way they wanted to. But now I know to stay in the car and just be like, okay, and then just mark it. Back then, they didn't have worry-free unassigned. You know, it's kind of like, okay, they're not working with me. I try to place the order so you can worry free on the sign. All right, McDonald's on the way. There's another one too right there. You see it? It says Barry right there. So you can go like that and then go back through there. Okay, so Navarre had two weapons. He could throw the sword pretty far. Watch the movie with Richard Donner. It's a direction by Richard Donner. Rutger Hauer, Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Broderick. There was Navarre Isbao, and Gaston the Thief. But he could throw the sword pretty far. That's how he killed the bishop. He threw the sword through him. You'd say maybe 30 feet, maybe he could throw the sword. One would be one click, 2, and 3. The crossbow he uses too. I believe it had a little notch on it. They talked about it. The crossbow went much further, which he did use throughout the movie. He does use a crossbow. He also played the Hitcher. Yeah, the Hitcher is a crazy one. With the guy, what's his name? Oh yeah, he was Pony Boy. Pony Boy and the Outsiders. Is he still? He's still around though, isn't he? Pony Boy's still around, yeah. Pony Boy. We're gonna pass by Domino's here quick. Pony Boy is played Pony Boy, right? C. Thomas Howell, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna guess C. Thomas Howell with the Hitcher. And Rutger Hauer. What we're in is the curse, though. So we are in a curse. And we are waiting for that sun and moon.
Hey, sir.
Yeah, what's up?
I have the money. Could you order me a coffee?
All right, 11:45 for the delivery. Think of a Colonel McKern, Leo McKern. He is passed away 2002. He played Empress. He was the one that helped Gaston. He also was the one that witnessed the union between Navarre and Lady Hawk, who happens to be Isabel. Do we have it stuck? No, not yet. Good. We are watching. It does stick. We go back this way. There we go. And we're on our way. Let's go, kitty. Radio just went through right here. It said 101.1. Right there. To be honest, I mean, it's my own personal opinion of the situation. I think it's probably safe to say. Oh, there it is. Interesting. I would say that it's safe to say that the possibility of it being unsafe or safe is probably both ways. If I didn't or it did, you know what I mean? It could be unsafe if I didn't, just as much as it could be unsafe as I did. You know, you're damned if you don't have what you need when you need it, right? So how do you prepare if you don't know kind of what's going on? But that sign back there was supposed to say mercy. So Andrew Powell worked with the Philharmonia to basically do the sound track for Lady Hawk with Richard Donner. It's like the freaking knot people, man. Dr. Sleep. Mentioning Rib, which is Revolutionary Independent Branch novel, parentheses, or Dog Night Out, close parentheses, dash Shepherds of Alaska. We're going to find out that right there was 11 seconds. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Cops pulling right beside me on the highway right there. That was set up. That was tracked. So that's corruption. So he wants to educate the public. If he wants to do that, you can do a YouTube show. I have one. It's called Cole Spivey. Look it up. Please subscribe show. You are on my Facebook, buddy. The behavior of the officer. So he did pull up alongside of me on the interstate and slowed down to my exact speed, which was 60. Which to me is, you know, I mean, because usually they just pass me. And he slowed down to my speed, and then he got behind me, which slowed me down even more, like to concrete 55. You see how it's readjusting? Watch this. Now I go to map. And then resume. Right there. That would take longer to resume if you know anything about this mapping system. Now you go here and see if it'll, yeah, it'll still read it. So it's functioning right now. I see why. Because it was programmed for West Bend. Okay, that's correct. That's fair. I'd check or do a drug test on that Hernandez officer too, just to verify everything. Fort Worth Police Department. I would do a drug test. Voice was hoarse. It sounded like he'd been yelling. Not at me, but it sounded like his voice was hoarse and a little shaky. A little angry for something that's just ridiculous. So I would do drug tests, and I would definitely maybe get like a AA counselor. Not that it was that way on the duty, but probably the night before. And I would definitely check some stuff, because that's a serious issue. Rib wouldn't care because he's not really doing that much damage. But like what Rib did, or what Rib does in the book, in the novel, in the fantasy novel, is they trank the serial killer cop. They tranquilize his butt. And then they drop him off in his underwear at 7-Eleven in Fairbanks, Alaska, for Agent Penn to pick him up. I think in the cast list it just says FBI Penn, but it's Agent Penn. He basically gets all his information, which I can write that down. That's River Oaks right there. All the information. Which I'll be writing down. Officer Hernandez, Fort Worth Police Department, in my little book. Right there, if you read that, you squint real hard, that says River Oaks, Texas. That's a River Oaks police officer. Right behind that vehicle. And here's the stop. We'll get the date in just a minute. All right, the stop's right here. There it is on the map. And here is the date for radio. Can't beat radio. 12:06, Wednesday, February 18th, 12:07 a.m. is on that stop right there. Right here. I got Linda way over this way. Way down this way. And I gotta stop at my airport. It was probably the other light, and it was on a left-hand. Those things get stuck. Those left-hand lights, or left-hand red lights, she said she only had like a beer or something like that. But she had the beer at 6 p.m. with her spaghetti. And they took her, which I'm going to show. They took her right over here to this department over here. This is the River Oaks Police Department. That night, it's on the vlog. The light that was run was going the other direction. All right, so you have this direction, which is west. You have eastbound. She was going eastbound. The light was right here. The officer was most likely right there. And that's the one that she turned left, U-turned. He came up behind her. She put her finger out just like that. And I'm gonna write the report on Officer Hernandez right over here. Now, she didn't go through this light. She did when it was green. He got behind her. She didn't run that one. She ran the other one. And the area that I went to was right over here in the vlog, which is where I'm going right now to write the report. And I'm going to show you what I did. Pulled over this way. And I parked right over here to talk to like maybe 4 or 5 officers that were digging through her car back in the vlog. The vlog, it was vlogged. The video log was done. And I parked right here. The officers were right there. Her car was right there too. And the stop happened probably at that light that was way down there. That's the state inspection place right there. She parked her car at. And we're in River Oaks, which is like the worst. So she probably was a, see the yellow? See how it's blinking yellow right there? It wasn't blinking yellow that night. Now it's blinking yellow. All right. This is basically my analyzation of the stop, February Tuesday, 18th. I didn't put down the time or the date. Well, yeah, I did put down the date. I put like, it's probably like 8:07. Okay. It went on to probably about 8:14, probably about 7 minutes maybe. It might have been longer. It might have, we'll just say it was 8. So it was a 14-minute thing on this one. So February Tuesday, 18th, 2026 at 8 through 8:14, it was stopped by Officer Hernandez along Interstate 35 West near Carvana, along the highway. So along Interstate 35 West. So I'll probably put highway down here, right here. This is the only way I'm going to store this thing. Okay. Near Carvana is what that says. Do you know why I stopped you? I replied, did I do something illegal? Officer said, I'm asking you, and got irritated with me. Do you know why I stopped you? I guess that's a question mark right here. Trying to get this down. I replied, did I do something illegal? I'm here, and there's another question. There's questions asked. I'm here to educate the public, he said. Why did I stop you? I guess this is kind of an implied question, maybe. And was it Carvana, this filming Carvana? Yes, you cannot have your phone before you in the car. How do I use my Apple CarPlay if I don't have my phone? You have to mount it. I'm ready for one. An Apple CarPlay sticks on the mirror or something like that. I'd say the car to unstick it, and the Apple CarPlay functions again. My daughter has similar in her car. This would be, I'll just put officer said. And the car, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so how do we operate the Apple CarPlay? If the car, we can't have our phones, is what I said. It's probably, I would say I said right here. And then it would say something like, I don't know this, what about the Bluetooth cuts out and I have to use the phone? You can have it to your ear, but not turn. But not turn it to but not to your face, basically is what it, you can't have it like that. So how them out. I'm looking for one at Best Buy. I'll go buy one. Eventually, he said this will, what is this? This will be a warning, so get a mount, I guess. I'll have to go on and then field, so I appreciate the warning, and I shook his hand, and he seemed pretty cool. All right, so basically just kind of a little note. I'm probably going to keep these. I don't have much more room on this. I'm going to have to get a new little folder thing. But I don't want to put it in this because this is for notes, so... I keep some of my receipts there. Basically, it went down like, well, how do we use Apple CarPlay if we don't have our phones? You can't have it like this, okay? Right, but my Apple CarPlay sticks, and I have to toy with it, and I use the camera sometimes when I'm toying with it, or I, you know, use YouTube. I think I mentioned that. I'll put it on YouTube. I don't know if I mentioned the whole YouTube thing, but I'll put it on YouTube, and then it unsticks sometimes, and it's just like a glitch that it's in, you know? So, but I did get 18 seconds of the Carvana. I don't know. I guess that was worth it. I'm at Victory Church right here. Yeah, so it was all over an 18-second shot of Carvana, just passing Carvana. And that's about it. So what Taylor Sheridan does is he pays the cops to protect him while he's making the movie. Yeah, if you go up to them, then they have to get ticketed for crossing that line. That's what Taylor Sheridan does. He did Hell or High Water. He uses the cops to protect him by paying them, and you know, and then he makes the move. At the end of Lady Hawk, the bishop unravels his cross, you could say, and at the bottom of it is a dagger. It's like and Rutger Hauer, who is Navarre, throws the two-handed sword that has the little prongs on the side through his body, ending his life and breaking the curse for all after he's seen. So the curse is ended because he witnesses the two together. He ends his life, and that's the end of Lady Hawk. And Gaston and Briss celebrate. Gaston and Empress celebrate. That'd be Matthew Broderick and Reginald. They celebrate. There's Kitty. Are you my little Lady Hawk kitty? Or you at least like watching it, right? Richard Donner movies. You're just a kitty, that's all you are. This is for the outdoor kitty. And he's getting a couple of them. That's for outdoor, and this is for Edmund. For today's kitty is. One kitty, 9 lives. Each life has a number. Numbers 1 through 9. Fancy feast. Gravy lovers. That means that here we go with today's kitty. There's one kitty, 9 lives, and each life has a number, numbers 1 through 9. And now we swirl the cat food and pick a cat food. Today's kitty will be having fancy feast, gravy lovers. This is going to be in whitefish, tuna feast, and gravy. And that's what he's having. And I'm having some leftover chicken. All right, we end here. I know, kitty. It can be very difficult at times. It's okay. We'll treat you. We'll treat you, and we'll teach you to be a good drug kitty. That way, you'll be able to find those hidden packages. They work way better than in drug dogs. It's goat juice.
Yes.
Okay.
9 servings.
And just 9 servings for the goat cheese. Where is it though? Oh, I see it. Roasted red corn goat cheese. And a little bit of so we're gonna go ahead, throw it in the editor. So Albert, kind of showing my process. There we go. I don't know what that is. I always keep one up. See, that's from yesterday's show. I'll show you really quick. See? We're in February 18th, but we're going to do a February 17th show. We're always a day behind. There's the show. Then what we do next, you'll find this doorbell camera, if you can, listen. Gold is silence, and silence is gold. Right, kitty? Now listen. Does that sound like a freaking alien?